following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everybody, I'm Christine, and this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. This is my least favorite thing to do, is start the show by myself. It's the worst. I absolutely despise it. This is why I'm never alone on this show, because I do not like it.
You're not alone.
Oh, rebels here. Your rebels always here. I love that. Jada is doing her business course. She's got a business coach and she's taking classes, and she's going to be gone for a little bit. So I have a lot of different guests coming on each week that are going to be here with me. Today, we are talking about dating as a high value individual. So pretty much knowing your worth. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Today, I'm being joined by relationship and life coach Paige Dempsey. She was just here. I don't know, maybe about a month or so ago. Maybe it was longer. Who knows? Time freaking flies, and I never can remember where I am. But Paige has been on the show. She's coming back to be with me today, and we're going to take a deep dive into what it truly means to date as a high value individual. If you've ever found yourself settling for less, attracting emotionally unavailable partners, or struggling with rejection, this episode is your wake-up call, because we're going to talk about how raw, real, unfiltered feelings about what your next steps can be. Also calling out the biggest dating mistakes and dropping game-changing advice today. So hopefully it's game-changing advice. I've been putting this together for you for a little bit. So what we want to do is help you step into your power, because we want you to see yourself as a high value individual, and knowing your worth is really what's going to make the difference in your relationships, in your dating life, all that fun stuff. So don't forget that if you come on today and ask questions, today's a great day for that. We've got a lot of fun stuff. So today we're also going to learn how to stop chasing, start attracting, finally dating another high value person such as you are. So we're going to do that. Rebel. Oh, Paige. Oh, no sound. Do you have a mute button? Maybe we can. You might be muted.
Oh, wait, I'm on.
Oh, you were there for a second. So Paige is trying to get on, and she's muted at the moment. So we'll figure that out for you. You know, it's never a dull day around here at 50 Shades of Bullshit. No, we can't hear you yet, Paige. You're on. Nope, you're off. But you know what, sweetie? If you go into the settings, there is going to be audio. And in that audio, you're going to have several different choices for links. You're just going to click them and see until we hear you. So we'll check that. In the meantime, I'm going to start with some information here for you guys.
Can you hear me now?
Are you there? Yep, there you are. You got a little bit of an echo. It's not too bad.
I got to turn off. I had to get on my phone, so I'm going to turn off the laptop. There we go. Does that work?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, I had to do that recently too. It stinks. What are you going to do?
All right. Let me see. Now I can't hear you very well. Just a minute.
All righty. Well, today, here we are. I'm going to just start going through some of this stuff here, and then you can join anytime you can. Okay.
Yep. Give me one more second. I'm going to grab headphones and I think that'll help.
Okay, that sounds great. So, the most important thing in knowing your worth is self-respect. Self-respect to yourself and inside a relationship is the most important step in making yourself a high value person and being valued as that high value person, and to also make sure that you are respecting yourself goes a long way when you are setting standards and boundaries. So, one of the first things in the importance of self-respect in relationships makes it the foundation of a healthy relationship, for one. But when you respect yourself, you set a certain standard for others on how they treat you. And that is, I think, one of the most important things when we're doing this kind of thing is making sure that you are setting a standard for how people are treating you. Are you there, Paige? Almost.
Yes, I am just
There you
having not good luck getting this.
Well, you do
here.
know that Mercury's in retrograde, right?
What's that, hon?
Mercury is in retrograde and it
I
messes
can't
with
even hear you.
you. Can't hear me. Okay.
You keep talking. I'm going to try to reconnect and we'll just see what we can get. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all good. We're here. We're not going anywhere for a little bit. All right. So I'm just going to keep going. The importance of self-respect in a relationship. One of the first things is recognizing your intrinsic value. And what that means is that it's your worth. It's not defined by external validation like your looks, your status, or whether somebody chooses you. Because that's a big deal. Because a lot of people put their value on whether somebody chooses them. You know, maybe they're in a room full of men and women, and here are all these men, you know, looking at them, or you're a man and you got all these women looking at you. You see your value in your status or how whether someone chooses you and or your looks, and that is just a step that's going to really set you back. You got to realize that you're not defined by those external validations. Be clear on what you want. So if you don't respect your own needs, others will not respect those needs. So say no when necessary. That's a big deal. Saying no when necessary is walking away from a situation that doesn't serve you in a way that gives you strength. So I don't know if any of y'all remember a guest that we had on a couple of times. Her name was Dawn, and she talked about the value of how you speak. And one of the things that I did an exercise with her on my own, I hired her to work with me. And one of the things that she did with me was she told me to imagine on my forearm that I have a tattoo. Okay. So, no, we all know I have tattoos. And one of the things she said was, imagine on your forearm here that there's the words, "Does this serve me?" And she kept telling me that every single time that I would question whether something was right or wrong for me, to look at my arm, imagine seeing the words, "Does this serve me?" to set me on the path to start thinking about what is right for me, what is wrong for me. And I do a lot of my exercises, meaning things in my life, I look at it and I go, oh, I look at my arm. Does this serve me? My inner tattoo, does this serve me? And then that gives me the chance to start rolling with it or walk away from it. Hi, Paige. Are you?
Can you see me now? Can you hear me?
Yep. Here.
I just plugged in an extra camera. I mean, there's like more than one way that we just gotta solve these problems.
Well, that was amazing. You did it
at my house today, but apologies. I think we're good to go now.
We don't care. We're good. You're here. That's all that matters.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you back. It's good to have you.
Yes, let's talk about all the things.
Yes. So, we're talking about the high value person finding another high value person and knowing your worth. And you probably heard me talk about the number one thing that I felt was important was self respect for yourself. Therefore, it leads to self respect from others to you. I do find that when I started having self respect for myself, that people started treating me a whole lot better.
Yeah, or not. But then you kind of know, like, well, those aren't my people.
Yeah,
If they're not treating you how you want to be treated, you know?
exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that's if I can jump in, that's funny because I've been kind of noodling on this. So I send out like a weekly email or I post stuff on socials. And I one of the things that I've been wanting to share lately is about, everybody talks about go on your healing journey before you start dating again or whatever. And it's like, what does that mean exactly? And
Mhm.
I maybe we talked about this a little bit last time. I can't remember, but it's like I don't think we
Mhm.
all have to be healed.
No.
But I will tell you that from my personal experience and my clients and the just people I talk to and online or whatever, it's like the more you up level your own self-worth, the
Mhm.
easier a lot of decisions become for you because then you're
Yes.
not, we talk about high value woman, high value man, but it's like at the core of that is just the higher your own self-love and self-respect is,
Yes.
you're not going to settle for this behavior that is like not good enough, or not on your level. And it
Exactly.
just, when I think of myself, even, today versus 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or God forbid, when I was 20 or 25, it's like when we're just like looking for men to like us. And then as I get older,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, do I like you? Are you on my
Yeah.
level? Like,
Mhm.
so I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, when I was younger, just like when men were attracted to me, I'd be going, "Oh, yay, as long as my attraction is there." I'm like, "Let's go. Let's do this." The next thing you know, I'm marrying them, having kids with them. And then what the hell? I look back and go, "Oh, shit. They were not the right person for me at all. I should
Yeah.
have taken a little time and investigated beyond them liking me."
Yeah, I mean, or being good looking or being attractive.
Or
I mean,
good
like that is like
yeah,
number 9 on my like list. I mean, there's got to be a semblance of attraction, right? But like
right.
being a
If
good
I
looking
can't turn
person,
the lights on during sex, we're fucked. Or we're
yeah,
not
yeah,
fucked. That's what I
yeah,
mean.
exactly. Yeah, but I mean, that is so funny because like I've heard other women, this came up not too long ago too. Like, maybe it was again when we talked. I can't remember because I have so many of these conversations. But like, being a good looking person doesn't mean they get up with you in the middle of the night and change diapers or like take care of the
Right.
kid when they're sick. Like that has no correlation whatsoever. In fact, it probably has an opposite correlation in some cases.
Right.
So,
Well,
um,
I find that I'm not saying that every good looking person in the world is, a real shithead. But, you do tend to see kind of an ego with attraction. If
like
they
things
don't have an ego,
coming your
they're a
way.
keeper,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, the second thing that I had on my list was how to avoid settling for less than you deserve.
Yeah, so should I talk a little about that? Can I share some
Yeah,
ideas?
yeah, I have some things that correlate with what we talked about on the show last week, which was your attachments, the way that you
Mm,
attach, the scarcity versus abundance, you know,
mhm, mhm.
um, watching for patterns, the alignment matters, things like that. What's your thoughts on all that?
My thoughts, that I think another part that a lot of women in particular miss is
Mhm.
not knowing. Your question is not settling for less than they deserve. So I think the problem is, I think a lot of women don't know what they deserve or more specifically what they want, or they confuse it like, well, you're less than I deserve, but it's like it's actually almost taking like a business principle and put it on your
Yeah.
dating life. Like if you
Mhm.
don't know what marketing outcome you're looking for or sales outcome you're looking, or whatever job you have, like you could be a nurse and like your patient care, you can put those same, like apply that same thinking to your dating life. So by that I mean, you could very specifically say, it doesn't have to be, less than I deserve. Well, he has to make this much money, but it has to be specific enough that I want to have a partner who we have enough disposable income to do X, Y, and Z. And then, if you meet somebody and they don't have disposable income, like that's not your person. And it's not even a big, it doesn't have to be so personal.
Right.
But what I think a lot of women do is, there's another thing that I want to post about, is that I think a lot of us just we meet person one, we meet person two, we meet person three, and then we try to see, could they be our person? Could they be our person? Could they be our person? And we try them for a while and then we don't. But it's like, I'm just saying, if you knew at the beginning, like ahead of time, my person will have these characteristics. And I don't mean height, and I don't mean weight, and I don't mean what kind of
financial. Financial could be a big part of that, but height, weight, looks, those things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those are fine, but I'm talking values, like core values, especially for all of us that are older. We're on second, third marriage, relationship, we have kids, so what's most important to you? And if, in this, we talked about this a little bit last time, in this political climate, that having shared values is a big thing to a lot of people. Or, to me, it's always like, do they do what they say they're going to do? Do they show up when they say they're going to show up? Do they hear me when I speak? Those are the things that I'm looking for. Do I not have to carry the conversation? Do I not have to carry the, emotional load? So I think the best part, or the best step a lot of people could take, is to really sit down and think about what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And it's just not enough to say funny, because everybody thinks somebody's funny, but like sometimes I turn on a comedian on Netflix. I'm like, they're not funny at all. Like, or that's not my kind of funny. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Educated. Well, educated doesn't equal intellectual.
School. I don't think education means school. I think education could be life lessons, the journey you've taken, the healing you've tried, things like that.
Yeah, but I think a lot of those times you got to go to like the second layer. So it's not money, it's what kind of lifestyle do I want to have with that money? It's not education, because you could be a complete douchebag that like went to grad school, or not very smart in a lot of ways. And you could be a blue collar person who's extremely intelligent and talkative. So it's not education. It's like, what's the thing about the education? Well, I want to have interesting conversations about, current events, or, the next thing is fun. Your idea of fun and my idea of fun, so I think like it can be just super helpful to like go to that next level and say, what's the right thing for me? And, we talk about a lot of this, and like, this is like just a marketing technique. I could life coach anybody about anything now, but it's like, the more I message about dating and relationships and women and dating after divorce and dating after a breakup, those are the women I most want to help. And those are the people I want to fill in. So the same thing with dating, people, I think the scarcity, getting back, and then I'll hand it back to you, but it's like the scarcity abundance. Some people think, well, if I say no to all these 9 people, I'm never going to find number 10. But I'm like, no, it's like, if you say no to all those other people, you're going to more easily identify number 10, who's like the actual one that you're looking for.
Oh, that's such an important thing to say. Also, the scarcity versus abundant mindset, people need to realize that there are millions of people in the world, and the right person will match your energy and your values. And like you said, as you start saying, no, this isn't going to work for me. No, that's not quite what I'm looking for. You start to get better at seeing that pattern. It starts seeing the things about a person that you do like. And if you get it out of your mindset that you're perfectly happy right where you are, you're good with yourself, you're solid, then, when someone comes along, you're going to recognize them easier. Whereas you're not sitting there going, oh no, I'm alone, I'm scared, what am I going to do?
You start realizing like, these people are disrupting my peace. I don't need anybody else disrupting my peace. Those days are done. We are done with that.
God,
like, you're only coming into my orbit, my universe, my circle, if you're adding, value. And if you're not, then, and this applies to friendships, it applies to coworkers, it applies to, like, I just think we're too old for that. And I want to get back to that scarcity thing you were just talking about. So I told you before, I'm in some, well, I think that's how we connected, is like these over 50 dating groups, or this dating group, that dating group, Gen X singles, on
Mhm.
Facebook or whatever, and I'll see these women who have had like 3 bad dates, and they're like, "I guess I'm gonna be single forever." And I'm like,
Oh my
"What
God.
what are you talking about? Like, what? That is the worst. That it's the best example of scarcity mindset
Yes.
because, oh, I had this guy was a jerk, so like I'm never dating again. Because
Right.
that, like, what are you talking about? No.
I think there was a post the other day about a guy said that he had talked to her, everything was great, everything was wonderful, and then she cancels the date, and now he's all sad and depressed, and you know, and I was thinking, I think I saw you make a comment about it. It's like, what? You haven't even met this person, you got your life all wrapped up in them. People
Yeah.
get way too attached to things and people that they have no idea if they're even going to have chemistry with, or even like them in person, or even have any core anything, much less values.
Yeah, and having some fun texting with somebody for a few days. I mean, that's just we just have to reframe it like that is not a loss. Like you
That is not a
enjoyed,
loss.
it's just not a loss. You don't know the person. Like losing somebody that you care about who you've known for 50 years, that is a loss. But somebody you met on an online dating app,
For
that is
20
not a loss.
minutes, whatever.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people get attached to the idea of, oh, this could be the person, and then I don't have to go through this again. And then that's the time I'm like, you don't know them, they don't know you.
No, you. Yeah.
Everybody just, yeah, bring it back down a little bit.
Well, you know, when we're talking about the scarcity abundance mindset, one of the other things was, you know, watching for patterns. And if you're consistently attracting people who don't treat you well, then you need to start assessing your beliefs about love and self-worth. That is, it stems from us. It comes from the individual. You cannot get it from somebody else. Take it from somebody who truly fucking believed my entire life that who cares if I love myself? Somebody else can love me. I'm going to
Mm-mm,
spend all my time loving somebody else. It doesn't work. And I am walking proof that that shit doesn't work. And then when you turn that around, this is what happens. I'm 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 wonderful. I'm great. I'm fucking happy as fuck. And I don't have to worry about whether somebody is in my life or not, whether they're disturbing my peace or not, because I'm perfectly fine right where I am. And it, you know, when someone comes into your life, when you're in that place, it just makes it so much better with that relationship.
It's so much better. And, even that I would piggyback on and say, well, yes, it comes from your belief, but I think
Mhm.
also I always say bad dates are good or even bad
Oh,
relationships.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
I always say you got to get your reps in, like in dating and
Grow.
figuring out, especially if you're over 25,
Mhm.
like, let alone 45, let alone 50, let alone 55. It's a whole new world. And so we get our reps in, and then, it's not just about your belief. Okay, so maybe I have really high belief in myself, but then you
Mhm.
got to start doing the pattern recognition, like you talked about. Like,
Yeah.
again, like some of these women, like I just see on socials or on the post, like I can tell by like sentence number 3 where this thing's gonna go off the rails. Because I just know,
Yes.
like, well, he texted me
Mhm.
this and it was kind of red flag. I'm like, I'm just gonna stop you right there. Like, if you just look back a little on some of these ones that weren't great, there's some
Mhm.
good information there. And what was your
Great
instinct telling
information.
you? And yada yada yada. So if you're not good at seeing that for yourself, I mean, sometimes girlfriends could be helpful or a coach or a therapist, but like
Mhm.
there's some pattern recognition to be done. And again, once you start believing in yourself, like you have said, and like I have said, you see the stuff so much quicker that it's just a better process. Like you're not wasting the time and the energy. And did he text me? Did he not text me? Are we going out? I don't know if we're going out. I'm just like, no, we're not. It's just better use of your energy when you're standing in your fuller self-love, self whatever,
Right. Self-realization. Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I have a practical exercise for people on this avoid settling for less than you deserve. When you're considering a partner, just ask yourself these 3 things. 1, do they align with my values? 2, do I feel emotionally safe with them?
Mm-hmm.
And 3, do they respect my boundaries? And if any of those answers are no, then that is something that you really need to reevaluate, and or, walk away from.
Yeah, and again, I guess this is like the theme of my part of the call today is to think about that stuff ahead of time. How will
Mhm.
you know if you feel safe with them? How do you know if they respect your boundaries? How do you know if they align with your values? Well, you know what? Fucking write down your values,
Yeah,
because otherwise it's kind of malleable. And, it's not just, it's out in the clouds. It's like, no, I value integrity. I value
right.
honesty. I value whatever. And then you can kind of check and go,
Mm,
because again, this is another thing that I think is just really funny and interesting in these Facebook groups and whatever. You'll get this whole couple of paragraphs. I'm going out with this guy, and we've been dating a couple weeks or a couple months, and he's so great, and he's so great, and he's so great. Except then the whole list of
except
things. I just think it was going to be the person for me, and then the list of 72 things that are like not amazing, and I'm like,
yeah, what is going on? Well, that's one of the things, though. Somebody could have really great core values. They could actually be a really wonderful person. They just aren't your person. Like theirs don't quite match up with you. And
yeah.
it's okay to not match with everybody. It's just
Yeah, it's like
okay.
you're like, well, I had to go to the store today. So you're like in the same grocery aisle, but not on the same shelf or something. It just is not. I think more people need to be okay with that too, because especially women, again, I think have a lot of like, hey, but he's a really nice guy. And it's like,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
okay. He can be a really nice guy. That doesn't mean you have to date him. That's really doing a disservice to both of you. And it's really not honest and it's
Yes.
not kind,
Mhm.
so yeah.
Yeah. Um, we talked about last week on the show, we talked about understanding your own attachment styles because it's really important to know how you're, attracted and attracting to people and those kind of levels. That actually ties in with, I think, figuring out your own values and figuring out what you're doing. Because if you don't take into consideration um, your past relationships and recognizing patterns, you can't start to learn how to break those patterns and writing things down that are really important to you, your core values, the things you want, like we said. If those things aren't jiving, then it's not going to work. And we talked about, let's see, secure attachment, which is which is comfortable with intimacy and independence, and it's an ideal place to be for healthy relationships. I'm going to do these really quick. Anxious attachment is craving closeness but fears abandonment and tends to over invest into people. That's a lot of what we see is over investing.
Mhm,
Avoidant is they value independence and often withdraw emotionally, and
mhm,
that's seen a lot by a lot of people these days. A fearful avoidant, which is a mix of anxious and avoidant behaviors. Now, what you want to do, and we were talking about this before, but what we were saying is go online and take an attachment style quiz and then kind of look at the patterns from your previous relationships and kind of look and see, well, this is saying, and I'm an avoidant, or I'm an anxious, or I'm a fearful avoidant, or it says I'm secure, which means that, you are healing and growing and getting to that place. Now, I used to be anxious attachment.
mhm.
Okay. And um, I am now testing secure. So that makes a big difference for me because it makes me think, oh my gosh, yes. Okay, I'm doing the work. I'm getting there. And everybody can get there, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, the thing that I think is important for people to know is you're not set. That is not a fixed thing that you were like born with and you're going to die being avoidant or anxious or whatever. I mean, that is definitely, it's just It's like any of the self-help stuff, it's a tool. And the
Mm-hmm.
tool should not be used against you. It should be used to help inform you on your journey, right? And so if people say, I'm anxious, I'm an anxious attached person, it's like, no, that's just a belief that you have about yourself. And that belief
Yeah.
can be changed as you work on, healing and improvement and self improvement. So,
Mhm.
which gets to the broader point of like the life coaching and relationship coaching. And gosh, I wish somebody would have taught us this when we were like, I don't know, teenagers or preteens. But, you know,
Actually, I have a guest that's coming on in, I think, April or May, who is actually starting a program exactly like what we're talking about, because
for like,
I have been saying that too. We need to be teaching our kids, our children, our teenagers, our young adults how to have these relationships, how to, develop these kind of skills, because they're not being taught by their parents, because their parents were never taught it in the first place.
right, right. Well, and the thing that I wanted to add about the like sort of the life coaching thing that I learned, way
Mhm.
late is that
Mhm.
beliefs that we have about ourselves are just thoughts that we've thought over and over.
Mhm.
I'm lazy. I'm
Well,
a
we've been told at some
procrastinator.
point.
You were told it and then you
Mhm.
internalize it and then you just keep
Mhm.
repeating it. And so it just
Mhm.
becomes like a belief. And then if you believe, well, I have anxious attachment style, so I can't have a good relationship, none of that is a fact. It's
Right.
just a belief that you've sort of now let inhabit you and your body and the way you show up in the world. And
Yeah.
so again, beliefs are changeable. Now
Yes.
it's like I like to say some things are simple, but they're not easy. It's like simple.
Right.
You just got to
Well,
start thinking better thoughts and, do the stuff, but it's not always easy to move that. It's not a thing that might move quickly, but, if you want to believe you are,
mhm.
always grumpy, then you're going to show up always grumpy. Or you can
Grumpy.
believe, I'm just not that, and I'm going to believe I'm something else. That's another way to sort of do these things is sort of imagine the future you who is feeling secure in your relationship. Like how would that you
Yeah.
show up? And
That's great.
you sort of grow into that person. You sort of live into that. Like, well, the anxious version of me would be checking my phone every 10 seconds. But I'm going to step into this role of this feeling more secure version of me, and I'm just not going to worry. It's like it takes again time and practice, but
Mhm.
it's worth the exercise and the growth for sure. I
I
think.
love that. I love that. Yeah. Well, when we talk about what does it mean to date with standards, I have some points for that. Some like guidance to kind of help people understand what that actually means. And it's about not compromising on key values, kind of thing. So I have a short little list on that. You distinguish between preferences versus non-negotiables, which was what we were saying. The preferences is height, hobbies, income level, you know, size of the body, hair color, shit like that. Non-negotiables are respect, emotional availability, shared values. So
Mhm.
when you're looking at those things and when you're deciding, on people that you're actually going to go out with, stop ignoring the red flags. So, and what that means is if someone disrespects your boundaries, it's a sign that they aren't the right match. Never like excuse bad behavior because they have chemistry with you. And
I'm
a
gonna
lot of people
can I
overlook that.
interject too so I don't forget
Mhm.
this? It's not
Yeah.
even don't ignore the red flags for
Mhm.
sure. Capital letters, underline, circle with a highlighter, but don't also ignore your preferences.
Right.
Like from the get. You know what I mean? Like uh,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't really I don't smoke pot. I guess if somebody did, that's fine. But I don't see myself dating somebody who like does that every night. Like I didn't when I was young, I don't when I'm old, so it's like if that was date number 1 that information came out, I'd be like this is probably not a good I don't have to make
Mhm.
this work. This is just I already know this is not
Right.
that's not a red flag even. It's just this is not a good fit.
It's just yeah, exactly, a preference.
Yeah.
Um so when you are, doing these things that you and I are talking about, I think what's really important that people should keep in mind is communicate clearly in the very, very beginning. Expressing your expectations early and consistently is really, I think, one of the most important things when you're starting to talk with somebody, because someone who genuinely values you won't be scared away by these, expressing what you want in your boundaries or in your values, or these kind of things.
And if
Maybe
they
it's
are,
also the way
that's
you
good
say
because
it.
that's not your person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of my suggestions, like a step to take an action, is make a list of standards and revisit them while you start to get invested with somebody new. You should have those lists before you start to get into a relationship or
What do
start
you think?
dating
What
people.
kind of standards are you thinking of?
For me, it's whether they are ambitious and work, have a job, can pay their own bills, take care of things, but then are not a selfish kind of guy who's
Mhm.
not going, oh, you need a job, you need to take care of things, and this is my life, that's your life. Somebody who's giving and genuine, and doesn't go, oh, you know I'm going to pay for this, you pay for that. I'm not looking for somebody like, what I mean? There's certain
Yeah.
things like that. I think there's lots of things like what they do with their free time,
Mm.
whether they are active or whether they value quiet time. And because I like a combo of both. I like
Mhm.
somebody who can chill with me, relax, and I have to fucking go, 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 go all the time. But
Mhm.
then again, I don't want the couch potato who doesn't want to do anything. I want to go skydiving and bungee jumping and traveling and horseback riding and biking and running and all these things. So I'm looking for somebody who's active, somebody who's also got inner peace, who can chill,
Mhm.
maybe meditate with me, things like that, you know?
So one way I had posted about this in response to somebody's post earlier, but so one way to ask people about that stuff,
Hmm.
I always think the best way to get information is open-ended questions. So even if you were on a dating app or you're on a first date, if you
Hmm.
say, "Are you active?" Then they say yes or no. A better way to kind of discern their level of activity or any question you're trying to kind of get some info about is to say like, "Oh, how do you like to stay active?
Yeah.
Tell me what kind of things you like to do in your free time," because then you can hear them say all the things that you just said, camping,
Whether
biking,
they're
running.
passionate. Hmm.
Or they might go, "Well, I kind of like to relax with a PBR on the couch when I get home from work." Like
Yeah.
then you have a better measure of like, does they're active, me, my active, are they out building a log cabin? Are they, playing pickleball? Like, what are they doing? And how does
Mhm.
that align? I do want to say one other thing so I don't forget this also is that I think we are giving amazing advice and I think you could still follow it and you could do all the things and you could check the values and check the standards and check. And I still think it's important to remember that you might date somebody for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, or a year, and
Mhm.
then go, not my
Mm.
person.
Right.
It's
Well,
okay. There's no guarantee. There's no like, well, you got
exactly.
9.7 of my values matched, so this is going to be my person. It's like we still don't. We don't know till we know, right?
Yeah.
And there's no insurance policy at the jump that's like, but you want to try to start with like somebody better aligned. I think.
Right. Agreed. Also, there's I say don't get too you can feel feels and the feelings for people. You can, get invested and get all excited. And 6 months down the road, 8 months down the road, a year down the road, you might find that there are things that they just are not. Because I always say you can hold the crazy in for at least 6 months.
Yeah, I
You
think
can
like 4 to 6
pretend.
months is about when you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
What
someone
I
can
thought it was.
really pretend to be the person you want them to be for at least 4 to 6 months, a year. Some people are talented.
Yeah, and I think that brings up another good point that is something I think a lot of women, myself included, need to work on, although I have worked on this, is I think we do a lot of like prodding men about like what we expect from them.
Mhm.
Like, well, say it's Tuesday. Well, aren't you going to ask me out for Saturday? Are we going to make plans for the weekend? And it's like, just let them show up as they are. Just
And
let
do
them show
your
up.
own thing.
And
If
like,
they don't show up in time for the weekend, then do your own fucking thing.
you don't want to fucking do that for the next 20 years. Honey, aren't you going to make plans for, because how many of us divorced that guy? All of us did. Like, all of us did. So don't start
Yeah,
that.
we
Like,
did.
look back yourself. And it's be like, just let the man or the woman or the whoever you're dating show up as they are without
Mhm.
you telling them who to be. Well, if you
Mhm.
cared, you would have this. And if you liked me, you would have that. No, just let them be. And then you get to decide, do I like that? Do I like the guy that calls me at 9 o'clock on a Friday night to get a drink and hook up? No, I don't. Period. Done.
Right. Right.
Like, but I have just decided I'm not begging, I'm not pleading, I'm not cajoling. You
I
come to me like,
I
and
don't
it's
care
not
to
even,
convince anybody.
and it's just it's just easy.
It is.
It's not even about the high value. It's just like, I'm not going to train a man who's 40 or 50 or 60 years old how to like be a partner,
Right.
like we're
I'm
not
not
doing
training
that anymore.
shit anymore.
We're not doing that anymore, ladies.
No,
Those
if
days
you
are done.
Yep. If
And I
I'm the
think that
right
goes back to
person,
the
then they will
attachment thing,
step
the
up.
secure and the anxious and the avoidant. Well, anxious.
Yeah.
Well, I should have, if I text him and then maybe he will, and then it will play. And it's like,
Oh my
take a
God.
deep breath.
Yes.
And again, listen, I have spent many a nights and days and mornings and afternoons checking the phone and wondering if they're calling and wondering if we're making plans. And eventually you just are like, doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If they want to, they will, but
If they want to, they will. And also believe people when they show you who they are. So
yeah.
I have some
First
advice,
time.
right, on how to handle rejection with confidence. I have a quick little blurb here. So dating, and when you get rejected, it is actually an amazing thing. It helps with your growth. I don't know if you know that, but it helps with your growth, folks. So let's embrace it. So understand that the rejection isn't always about you. Sometimes people reject us because they aren't the right place emotionally. Like I've tried to date somebody and then something happened with their family and they're all, a mess, and that's fine. They need to find who and where they need to be. That just wasn't the right time. Other times it's simply a mismatch of values or timing. Detaching yourself, your worth from external validation, like we said earlier. You don't need someone's approval to be valued, and the right person will recognize and appreciate you. And see rejection as redirection. I always say I love it because the rejection is the universe saying, "Hey, I just saved your ass." Okay. And I love that. I always say the universe hurts us to help us. Every rejection brings us actually closer to our matches. And it's by saying, you know what? That just wasn't my person. My person's still out there.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you. If the word rejection did not exist, what would we call all of this?
The word rejection didn't exist. That's a good question. For me, it would be like dodging a bullet.
Yeah, so this is another thing. I think I wrote a blog about this, and I call it I reject your rejection. And here's the thing. I think we need to take the word rejection out of dating, period. End of story.
Good idea.
Because it's everything you said is not a rejection. It's a bad timing, bad
Mhm.
like I just don't see it, and especially in the early days of dating. First
Right.
date, second date, third date, 6 weeks. If somebody goes, "Hey, so nice, you're amazing," not a good match. I see
Right.
nothing about that. That's a rejection. I see no reason to take that personally. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just two adults being adults saying not a good fit, or my mom got sick with cancer, or so I would challenge people to take, if you took rejection out of your vocabulary,
Mhm.
even at work, even with your mom, even with whatever, you would be like, oh, yeah, they just had a
Mm.
different approach or a different background than me. And so we're just, again, it's just like it's like just a softer way to think about it, and
I love that.
I can't think of somebody. I will tell you, I don't remember if I talked about this before. I have actually, I will, I have been actively applying for jobs to go back to work full time in
Mhm.
addition to my coaching. And I've got a lot of rejections, frankly.
Mhm.
Like literally, like, sorry, we're moving on with other candidates or been ghosted. There's a lot of parallels in this
Mhm.
like job search process to the dating process.
Dating
But it's kind of
process.
like it's easy to say, don't take it personally, or oh, they might have just found somebody that was a better fit. So I get it. I get
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
But I just don't think rejection really exists in dating. It's just a
Don't
matter
either.
of, especially if it's somebody you barely know or just met on an app, and and they didn't show up. They didn't reject you. They rejected themselves. They rejected an opportunity to meet you. But
Mhm.
not you.
Yeah. I have some challenges for people. We've only got about 4 minutes left. So I have some challenges that I put down for you guys today. First one, for the next 30 days, commit to, okay, saying no to things that don't align with your values. For the next 30 days, commit to removing any emotional, unavailable people from your life. That's a step that I did. I love it. It's very good.
That's easier said than done.
It
So,
is. It's
mhm,
recognizing it, and then, for me, I block and then I delete the number because then it doesn't tempt me to try to call them back. And then
mhm.
out of sight, out of mind. The last one I have is for the next 30 days, commit to investing in your growth, your hobbies, and your passions. So, my final thought for it is love yourself first. The right partner will complement your life, not complete it. Do you like my
Yes,
little tag?
yes, yes, yes. You should
Yeah,
be complete as yourself. We don't need somebody to complete us.
absolutely. That whole movie is like, "You complete me." It's like, they may add value to your life, which makes your life, better and enhanced, but you should be complete within yourself.
Yeah. And you can find these, I guess I'll leave with one idea. It's a lot of people are looking for that dating person and that partner and that relationship. It's like you can have a lot of intimate, supportive relationships in a lot of different areas. It doesn't have to be
Mm,
all pinned on one person, right? It can be girlfriends. It can be your pickleball
yeah.
team, your book club, your sister, your coworkers, right? Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of places you can have good
expand your
relationships.
life.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
in the
it's like
meantime, those will be more people in your life. That's good practice relationship building that you can then use on a future partner whenever they come along.
well, that future partner could also come along while you're out doing all these things for yourself.
Yes, yes.
You know? Maybe you love golf and, you've neglected spending that time on the course to really think and to feel and to just exercise and to, just clear your mind. And you go out there and you stop for a drink in the bar after at the, or grab food. Maybe there's somebody else that was there doing the same thing. You never know. It's like when you're on your journey for you, that person for you will come along.
Or somebody who knows that person. I always say you
Exactly.
don't have to meet the person, you just have to meet people because people know people.
People
So,
know people.
like the other people on the golf team or the golf outing or whatever might not be the person, but they might know the person, and they're like, oh, this lady's so nice.
Exactly.
I met her. She's so fun. And you love like
I
people are everywhere.
I love
Opportunities
that.
are everywhere.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. Next week, I believe I have Janice Formicella back. She was or is the host of, oh my God, what's it called? Oh well, she's like a dating breakup coach, and she's
Mm.
also got a second solo web. God bless America. This like retrograde is affecting my brain too. But anyway, Janice Formicella is coming back next week. She's going to host with me, so that should be fun. I'm really happy that you could come on such last minute,
I
Paige. I
love
was
it. We
like,
could we
Paige,
could talk for all hours. So anytime you need somebody to kick around
I
with, let
love
me
it.
know because I love this and I
I
love
love
all
it.
the opportunities women our age have at this point, and we just got to go out and enjoy it.
I love that. And I love that we're in the same, groups. I see you making comments to people and I'm like, she's got that covered. I don't need to say shit. I see all the comments and I walk away because I'm like, not touching that.
Get it together, people.
Right.
We'll get there.
Well, we are at our time limit here today. I'm so grateful that you were here with us, Paige. Rebel, we always freaking love you. And to everyone who joined us, we really appreciate you. And we're here same time, same place next week. And until then, let's just keep this shit real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.